Moving on to our next speaker, Lynette Theriault, DTM, has been a dedicated Toastmaster for 7 years and is currently a member of 2 clubs in Division F in D42. Lynette is passionate about members getting all that they can from Toastmasters experience, just like Matthew described, and helping to educate the masses is her primary focus. Running hybrid meetings is her latest passion and also happens to be her HPL project that hopefully will benefit a number of members in District 42. The world is shifting on us again, and we need to be prepared to embrace this change, says Lynette. Please welcome Lynette Theriault.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for welcoming me to your meeting. I'm not super familiar with WebEx, so I'm hoping that my screen is sharing. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so do you remember the world the way it used to be? Once upon a time, we sat shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, around a table, and we talked to each other, sometimes like this, sometimes like this, and we all shared air. And then something happened, and all that went away. And here we are now, and some of you may recognize yourself on this picture, but we've been like this for a really, really long time, and we've gotten really used to it. But the world is changing again, and we have to figure out what now? Where do we go from here? We have to look at what our, and everybody is using this term and it drives me crazy, but what is our new normal? Because the before times, well, they're gone. There's the COVID times, which we're living in. And then we've got, I don't know what's coming. But one of the things that I know for sure is that we need to look at how we're going to continue to hold our meetings into the future. And that is where bringing together 2 different things becomes a hybrid meeting. I don't know if there is such a thing as a kangarosaurus, but I got to tell you, anybody who knows me knows I find weird pictures and I just go with it. So this is my new favorite animal in the entire world. But I looked at what's coming up and started to see that light at the end of the tunnel, and I hope to heck it's not actually a train. But I thought, how can I best serve my club as we move forward into hybrid meetings? Because I feel like I've kind of figured out this Zoom thing pretty good. But I wanted to not only share that with my club, but share it with the district as a whole. So hence came an HPL project. And I formed a team, as we do, and we decided that really what our vision of this project would be is to help empower clubs to help make a really great experience when we're trying to combine what we know now and what we remember from before and make it a new and exciting thing that we can do. If we're going to do that, though, we have to ask some hard questions. And we have to realize that we've combined things before. We didn't used to have a wheel, right? We used to carry around big suitcases, lugged them all through train stations and such. And then someone invented the wheelie suitcase, and we've never gone back. And I think hybrid meetings are much like that. But there's 4 key questions that each club has to answer, because this will not be right for every club. And it is far out of my scope to want to tell any club that they should do this. But the 4 questions that a club needs to look at very carefully, and we can talk about some of this in the Q&A. Do we have stable and reliable Wi-Fi or some way to connect to the internet? Because if you don't, hybrid meetings are dead in the water right there. If you can't get on the internet, you're done. So we have to have that nailed. Do we have the infrastructure? And by that, I mean like the equipment necessary to make this work. What if we don't? Well, do we have the funds? Is the club able to find a way to come up with the money, to raise the money, to fundraise, to put a tax on the members? I don't know. Every club will have to come up with that for themselves. And lastly, do we have the people? So as Matthew was talking about engagement and getting people involved and getting that excitement, do we have the commitment we need from our members to actually pull this off? Because don't think for a second that there isn't going to be a fair amount of work that goes into holding a hybrid meeting. So I suggest each and every club sit down, not just the executive, but all of the membership. It could be a survey. It could be a social event where it gets discussed. It could be a business meeting in a regular meeting. But everyone needs to sit down and look at these questions and figure out, are hybrid meetings going to be right for you? I will now stop sharing and take it to some questions. If anybody has some burning questions that they want to have asked. And then I'll finish it off with a little something at the end. Come on, I know you have questions.
Lisa, go ahead, please.
All right, Lynette, I'm wondering, based on your experience, so at Fluor, we are so completely on with technology. We have a big screen that we can use. I think some of us are very excited about meeting in person. Others of us have really enjoyed not having to drive into town. So I think that I'm thinking that we'll make a really good go of trying out the hybrid. Because you have more experience with it, how do you find that the engagement, like I'm thinking of, if someone on the screen is giving a speech, right, it's really hard for them to see the audience. If someone in the audience, right, is giving a speech, do the people on the screen, are they at a disadvantage because it's harder to hear? Like, what are some more of those difficulties or challenges that might come up that you would maybe have some suggestions for or that you've experienced?
Oh my gosh, can we talk for 2 hours about this? Because I have my brain, my little head is so full of how to make that all work. We just did a workshop on Saturday for 2 hours, and we ran it as a hybrid meeting and showed, so we really modeled the behavior to see. And there are as many possible setups as there are Toastmasters. So corporate clubs like yours do have a distinct advantage in having a lot of that stuff currently available. But a few little add-ons would change everything. So I think we have this idea of screen people, in-room people, and they're separate, but they don't have to be. All it takes is the addition of one extra camera. And that doesn't have to cost a penny because we all have them right here in our hot little hands. There's my cute dogs there, you can see. We need only to understand that some free software and a cell phone camera with an additional tripod or way to prop it up can take, and so let's say, Lisa, you're the speaker on the in WebEx. You will have, just like you see, like right now I'm seeing, Matthew and Marcy on my screen. You would see the entire room full of people. So there's part of your audience, but you also have your little Brady Bunch squares as the rest of your audience that you can see. Now, whether or not you're going to be able to see them during your speech is an entirely different matter, because realistically, we shouldn't be looking at the screen anyways. We should be looking at that camera, because that's when our audience feels that we're looking at them. So as a speaker, we've had to learn that skill of not looking at those faces in front of us for that feedback. And we've had to sort of find it from within. We look at where are we going to put our screen? We'll call them our screen people. Where are we going to put them? Are they in front of the speaker? Are they behind the speaker? What does our room look like? And how do we set that up? And the 3 key words that I am going to say to any club looking to do this: practice, practice, practice. Period. You will not get it right the first time. You will not get it right the second time. You will not get it right the third time, but you might by the 10th time go, Eureka, we figured this out. But we also have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable looking at that little dot. I would so much rather be looking in your face right now. But I know that when I look at that dot, you feel that I'm looking at you. It's not about me going like this, looking at you, because now I've broken that connection and you no longer feel that I'm looking at you. So I'm uncomfortable, but I'm doing it to make you more comfortable. When we had our in-person / hybrid meeting on Saturday, we had a Q&A at the end where we all just sat and stared at a camera, and all the people we were talking to were behind us, and it was really uncomfortable, but it made them feel comfortable. So that's what it is just figuring out where everything goes, who's where, who's doing what, and away we go from there. Hope that answered your question. Anybody else? Then we got just a little bit of time for maybe one more question.
Stephen?
Yeah. Hi, Lynette.
Hi.
When I first look at the topic, it's hybrid. I thought it's together with online and in person, so it's mixed together.
Yeah.
I'm more curious about that kind of technology, or how to mix them together. Right now, I think the topic is really covering online kind of techniques to use to be able to participate, get people engaged,
Right.
to have that eye contact. Have
Right.
you will be the summary of your speech will be touching that, or you have something else to share?
A little bit, yeah. I'm gonna tease just a second for something that I will share with you guys afterwards. So yeah, I'll finish up on that. But one thing to sort of help you understand how we can meld those two worlds together is, let's just take a look for a second at one of the roles in our typical meetings, and that's the timer role. I think the timer role is going to be a key role as we move into hybrid meetings, because online I can see Marcy clearly displaying the yellow screen. It's right in front of my face. But if I was in the room, I wouldn't be able to see that little yellow box on the screen that's possibly even behind me. So we're looking at coming up with ways, and we've been brainstorming and researching, how can we make this work? So something like having 2 timers, and I know that's a stretch for some clubs because we're short members sometimes, but having a timer in the room so that the in-room meeting feels like the old days, the before times, that I can see that little timing box or traffic light signal or whatever it is that you have. And yet the in-person meeting runs very similar to the way that it did. We just have extra people we have to listen to through a speaker, whereas the online meeting runs very much the way it does, and the online people would have their online timer. So trying to meld those together, but I have a way to do that, and I have something that I will share with you guys. And that looks like the end of my Q&A time. And I don't want to stretch any longer than I have to or am allowed to, because I could go on for hours. Anybody who knows me knows I can talk forever. So to finish things up, my team and I have really kind of come to the end of what is this HPL project. And I'm not completely letting it go, because I know that I'll probably be bouncing around the district throughout the rest of the year and chatting this up, because it really is a new passion project for me. But as part of this workshop, because not everybody was there and every club needs this information, we recorded it. We're running it on the D42 YouTube channel once it's ready to go. But we have also put together a handbook. It's about 30 pages so far. We got a few more things to add in, and it will be a synopsis of everything we talked about in that meeting. So Stephen, that will address a lot of your concerns as to what does the in-person side look like and what does the online side look like, and how do we mix those together. As soon as that's available, and I'm hoping that it will be maybe by the end of the week, I'm just waiting for a couple of my team members to finish up their portions. We'll put that together, and I will send it out to Ruby and to Marcy, and they can distribute that within this club. It will also be eventually posted on the D42 website, I'm hoping, as a resource manual. And it by no means is anything and everything to do with hybrid meetings, but it's all of the work that we've put in, the research that we've done, the resources that we've found helpful, and we're going to share that all with you. Because it's impossible to do in a 5 to 7 minute speech, but we will make sure that we give as much information as we are able to the entire district, because this is coming, whether we like it or not. Not everybody has to do it. Hybrid could be in-person, online together. Hybrid could be 3 in-person meetings and one online meeting a month. It could be 3 online meetings and 1 in-person a month. It could be any combination. So the possibilities are endless and varied, but I think if we put in the work, if we understand we won't be perfect the first time, and we give ourselves that slack to learn and to grow with this new idea, that I think we are going to find ourselves again as a district, as we have done in the past, adapting very, very well to our new reality. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.